Confirmed prophetic revelation. 7 miraculous days to discover the divine beyond your eyes. In the quaint village of Wrenwood, nestled among rolling hills, a divine revelation erupted in a flurry of motion, flickering with hope. Claire, a devoted mother and cherished community leader, knelt in the old church, surrounded by candlelight that danced like stars in the night sky. It was during a solemn mass that her heart fluttered with an impossible truth. She could almost hear the Lord's whisper, loud and clear, "In just 7 days, your faith will usher in miracles that'll change everything." As the congregation swayed to the hymns, the air brimmed with expectancy. Eyes sparkled with something fierce and unmistakable joy tied to the divine. And little did they know that the universe was holding its breath, ready to unfold a tale of grace and supernatural encounters. During the very first evening of what would soon become a remarkable week, Claire witnessed her neighbor's ailing child, young Timmy, who hadn't smiled in weeks, leap from his bed with laughter. A rustle of disbelief swept through the village, and Claire's spirit soared. "That's a miracle!" she exclaimed, as villagers gasped in wonder. The church's pantry hummed with life, too, when a visitor appeared suddenly, with a sack brimming with donations as if they fell from heaven itself. "Look what is happening!" Claire cried, her heart swelling. Yet there were murmurs in the shadows. Tom, her neighbor, with a glare as cold as winter's grasp, scoffed, "Miracles? Just coincidences and a deluded mind." His cynicism cast a shroud over what felt undeniably sacred, and Claire found herself torn between faith and doubt. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the days passed, tremors of grace rippled through Wrenwood. Claire's husband received an unexpected job offer from a stranger in the village market who recognized his gifts. Faces lit up with reverence as they shared news of transformation. Perhaps Claire had been right all along. But Tom's eyes hardened and his sneer deepened. He plotted a way to expose what he deemed falsehood. At the weekly prayer meeting, he stood defiantly, challenging Claire's vision, triggering chaos among the congregation. Their hopes teetered on the precipice, dread mingled with doubt. In her darkest moment, Claire gathered her courage, her heart pounding as she called for prayer, the congregation's tension thick as fog. "Let us trust, let us believe," she pleaded. And just then, the air shimmered electric. A lull foil of silence fell over the room, and Tom found himself in danger, an accident barely avoided. The moment turned him inside out. Onlookers held their breaths, hearts jolted with awakening. The atmosphere shifted, igniting in awe. Was this a miracle? As he knelt, tears glistening like jewels in the flickering candlelight, Tom felt the walls of disbelief crumble, faith seeping in. The church buzzed with whispers, the air thick with spiritual electricity, leaving the villagers gasping in shared wonder, and an urgent question lingered: what miracles awaited them next? Wrenwood stood at the threshold of awakening, a momentous week ahead filled with divine possibility, and the whispers of hope beckoned loudly for all who dared to believe. What lies beyond those 7 miraculous days? Only time would tell. As dawn broke on the 3rd day, a golden light poured through the windows of the old church, bathing the wooden pews in warmth. Claire felt it deep in her chest, a thrill of anticipation that wrapped around her heart like a gentle embrace. With each tick of the clock, she sensed the miracles unfolding, intertwining with the essence of her own faith. The air buzzed, and villagers gathered for morning prayers, excitement coursing through the crowd. Children giggled, their laughter resonating like sweet hymns, as parents exchanged knowing smiles filled with hope. Claire stood at the front, her heart swelling as she looked at the faces lit with renewed energy. "Today is a day of breakthrough," Claire proclaimed, her voice steady yet filled with an unmistakable joy. "Today we will witness the power of faith." The prayer session began with fervor, voices rising like fragrance to the heavens. Each whispered prayer seemed to amplify the miracles in the air. Sickly flowers bloomed vibrantly in the church garden, and inside, the community felt their burdens lightening. Faces flushed with contentment, hearts uniting in love and hope. But then Tom interrupted, his voice cold as the morning air. "What will you do when the miracles dry up? You're being led by false hope." His cynicism rippled through the crowd like a sharp wind, chilling the warmth that had filled the space moments before. Gasps echoed through the sanctuary. Claire felt the tension. She knew Tom was struggling, trapped like a moth in the dark shadows of his own disbelief. Slowly, she approached him, the congregation's whispers falling to a hush. "Tom, have you considered that perhaps what you see isn't all there is?" He stared, and for the first time, she saw uncertainty flicker in his eyes. "Faith is not blind," Tom scoffed, but Claire could sense it. In that moment, the flicker turned into a spark. "True faith sees beyond this moment," Claire urged. "Can you let love in, even just a little?" Just then, there was a commotion at the back of the church. An elderly woman, once bedridden for months, emerged from the shadows, her frail form glowing with vitality. She smiled like dawn breaking after a long night, arms raised high in pure jubilation. "I am healed. I am free," she declared with a voice that rang like a bell. Gasps turned to cheers, the congregation rising together in joyous chorus. The praise danced around the church, wrapping Tom in a confusing swirl of emotions. Claire watched as his defenses began to crack, and the air filled with a heavy mixture of awe and disbelief. In that very moment, Tom's heart, once cold and shuddered, quaked ever so slightly. He clutched his chest, feeling something shift inside him. Could it be that the air pulsed with something divine? Could the joy of those around him infect his hardened spirit? With trembling hands, Tom took a step forward, his voice barely a whisper. I don't understand. But I feel something. How is this possible?" The congregation turned their eyes to him, a collective breath held in anticipation. Claire felt the surge of warmth spread among them all, a potent spirit igniting each heart anew. "You see, Tom, the divine is always at work even in moments of doubt," Claire responded gently. Could this be the pivotal moment for Tom? Would he finally let go of his skepticism and embrace the miracles blooming right before his eyes? As the morning light filled the church, enveloping them all in a kaleidoscope of warmth and love, Claire sensed that the fourth day held even greater wonders. And with a boldness filling her spirit, her eyes locked onto Thomas, she whispered, "Are you ready for what's coming next?" The moment lingered like a breath held between the earthly and the divine. Claire's heart raced as she watched Tom stagger back, his eyes wide, wrestling with the dawning recognition. The world around them pulsed with life, infused with energy no one could deny now. "Can it be?" Tom murmured, more to himself than anyone else, his voice trembling in the rising clamor of joy. The elderly woman, radiant and effulgent, was surrounded by villagers offering heartfelt embraces. Shouts of gratitude erupted, spiraling up to the vaulted ceiling like incense ascending, filling every nook and cranny of the sacred space. The cheerful noise became a harmonious backdrop, creating a symphony of hope and wonder. Eyes flickered from Tom to Claire, and she felt a softness envelop her spirit. This was the moment she had prayed for, a moment not just of healing for the woman, but of awakening for Tom. "Tom," Claire said softly, stepping closer. "You are standing on the edge of something beautiful. Leap with us. Embrace this moment." With the village's unwavering faith surrounding him, Tom shook his head slowly, battling the shadows that had gripped him for so long. "I've been taught to seek proof, to question everything." His voice broke, revealing a vulnerability Claire had never seen before. "That's good," Claire encouraged, her face lighting up with sincerity. "In questioning, you allow room for answers beyond our understanding. It's where faith meets the miraculous." Tom blinked, his gaze drifting over the congregation, taking in the tears of joy, the arms raised high in surrender and celebration. The warmth of their collective belief was palpable, wrapping around him like a soft blanket. He felt something shift deep within, a tiny flicker of possibility igniting in his chest. As he surrounded himself with the wave of communal faith, Claire placed a gentle hand on his shoulder, grounding him in the moment. The miraculous isn't confined to the extraordinary. Sometimes it's found in the simple act of surrender. Suddenly, the church doors swung open. A sharp winter wind burst in, swirling fallen leaves around the threshold. An unfamiliar man, drenched in color, entered, his voice ringing out. "I heard the commotion. Is it true? Are miracles happening here?" Everyone turned, eyes wide with surprise. Claire stepped forward, still holding Tom's gaze. "Miracles are happening, yes," she proclaimed, almost instinctively rallying the congregation's responsive spirit. "Come, witness for yourself." The man's eyes widened, reflecting wonder and curiosity. There was an unmistakable air of anticipation brewing, and with a deep breath, he crossed over the threshold. Tom glanced at Claire, caught in the circle of shared belief. Could this truly be a turning point? As the man approached the gathering, Tom's heart conflicted between skepticism and newfound hope. The air thickened with possibility, electric with what could be. He took a tentative step closer to Claire, whose face shone with encouragement. "Will you join us?" she whispered, her voice soothing. In that very moment, an unexpected hush fell over the crowd. The atmosphere shifted, pulling everyone into reverent anticipation. It was palpable, this transformative energy, and it felt as though the heavens were poised to pour out blessings upon them like never before. "Will this day be the first step?" Tom thought, glancing at the man who had walked in unexpectedly. Would he also find the courage to embrace and believe? The golden light from outside danced within the church, wrapping around them all like a glorious handshake from heaven. What awaited them in the unfolding moments ahead? As Tom stood at the edge, Claire felt a knowing in her bones. She whispered to him, "This is just the beginning. Are you ready for the truth yet to be revealed?" The hush that enveloped the church felt sacred, as if time itself paused to behold what was unfolding. Tom's heart raced. He drew in a shaky breath, the scent of incense mixing with the coolness of the winter air channeling through the church. The new man, vibrant and alive, began to move closer, caught in the pull of shared emotion radiating from the gathered villagers. Around them, hands gripped tightly, eyes shimmering with tears. Claire could feel the weight of expectation, not just for miracles, but for transformation. The warmth of hope wrapped around her like a shawl, instilling courage into her very being. The man approached and then turned to face the crowd. "What has happened here?" he asked, his voice imbued with fervor. A ripple of whispers surged through the congregation, like wind rustling through leaves. Each person felt the electric possibility of answering his inquiry with the depth of their experience. Claire turned to Tom, her eyes bright with divine excitement. "This moment is bigger than us. It's an invitation." Tom stood still, one foot on the path of skepticism and the other onto the bridge of faith. An invitation to what? He pondered silently, uncertainty bubbling just beneath the surface of his resolve. "It's an invitation to step into the miraculous," Claire exclaimed, the passion in her voice stirring the air. "Not just to watch, but to dive into the pool of grace and healing. It's time to engage." As if on cue, a soft melody began to rise from the crowded corners of the church. The elderly woman, radiant and revitalized, lifted her voice and sang a hymn of praise that floated upwards, effervescent and enchanting. It reached each heart, urging every soul to lift their gaze from the ordinary. The man who had come in uncertain stepped forward, drawn by the beauty of the moment. "I want to believe," he shouted suddenly, the conviction spilling out as if unchaining something within him. The atmosphere crackled in response. Tom felt an updraft of courage meet his faltering heart. Could he too declare such faith? Could he abandon the safety of his skepticism? Around him, the congregation pulled their faith together, murmuring words of affirmation and encouragement. It was a chorus of belief that crescendoed into energy. The sanctity of the gathering transformed, and the weight of doubt began to dissipate like fog in the morning. As the song soared, Tom could feel a stirring within. He glanced at Claire, her brow furrowed in earnest prayer, her lips silently moving. In that sacred silence, she felt God's prompting whispering to her heart. "This is what I've always wanted, Claire. Are you ready to leap into the depths, Tom?" she asked again, her deep and steady voice a lifeline in his uncertainty. He looked at the crowd, the smiles, the visible joy, the tears flowing freely. Then to the man, who searched the depths of his own being. "I want to leap too," Tom finally breathed out, his voice barely above a whisper yet ringing with resolve. The moment felt weighted, significant. The surrounding villagers held their breath, hearts synchronized in anticipation. They knew that in this commitment, a mystery gripped every heart, a sacred connection forged by faith, and as Tom took a step closer, beyond the edge of doubt and into the richness of belief, a flash of light danced through the golden rays flooding the church. Everyone turned to witness as the very atmosphere shimmered, stretching their faith beyond the visible. "What is it, Lord?" came a weary voice in the crowd. "Reveal to us." The walls seemed to listen, and a holy breeze rushed in, palpable and potent, stirring something profound. Claire looked to the heavens with an intense longing, expecting something miraculous. What would this light unveil? What lay beyond their understanding, waiting to manifest? As the congregation began to murmur and stir, the quiet anticipation bound them together. The chorus of their hearts echoed the unformed dreams. Would they dare to ask what God had in store for them all? The anticipation hung in the air, thick and electric. Tom's heart raced with the pulse of faith. Claire glanced around, eyes aflame with expectation. The light that had ignited the gathering felt alive with the presence of something greater. Whispers of prayers floated through the room, entwining with the melodies of hope. "What do we do now?" Tom's voice wavered as he took another careful step forward. His legs felt heavy, but his spirit yearned to soar. Claire, sensing his doubt, reached out and squeezed his hand. "Trust, Tom. We engage with faith," she encouraged, her eyes sparkling with divine assurance. All around them, the villagers had begun to lift their voices, singing with unwavering joy. The elderly woman beside her, once frail and weary, was now radiant and strong, her voice leading the chorus. Each note seemed to form a bridge connecting earth to heaven, and the congregation felt gravity lose its hold. Then, as if answering their collective faith, the shimmering light intensified. It coalesced, swirling like a gentle wind, whispering secrets of the divine. The man who had first stepped forward, now gripped by something deeper, raised his arms, his voice ringing out like a bell. "I feel it," he declared, eyes wide as galaxies. "Can you feel that? The love. It's everywhere." The villagers nodded, many in tears, the sorrow of their hearts lifted like a fog revealing the golden sun below. Tom felt the warmth spread through him. It was a warmth that melted the doubts that had clung like a cold shroud for far too long. "Let it in," Claire whispered, sensing the transformative waves crashing against their spirits. "This is just the beginning. God is inviting us to experience His love." Tom closed his eyes, envisioning a vast ocean of grace that waited just beyond his comfort. He imagined stepping into those waters, welcoming every blessing, every healing that had been promised. Suddenly, the air thickened. A voice rose above their worship, resonating from the front. The man, vibrant as ever, spoke with authority. "God is doing a new thing among us. We are on the fringe of divine revelation. 7 miraculous days await, where the heavens will touch the earth." Murmurs of awe rippled through the congregation. 7 days. An echo of divine completion. Those words sunk deep in the hearts gathered, lighting sparks of eager curiosity. What did it all mean? What transformations would unfold? Tom's breath hitched as the realization washed over him. This was an opportunity, a journey into the miraculous that lay just ahead. The others sought each other's eyes, seeking confirmation of shared belief, a connection ignited by the Holy Spirit. As the man called for everyone to step forward, Tom felt Claire pull him gently into the throng. He hesitated, fear still lurking within him. But something ignited in his heart, a beacon of hope that swelled stronger with each passing moment. "Have faith, Tom," Claire encouraged softly. Every step is a step closer to the miracle. Tom took a breath and, in that instant, he felt the heat of faith on his skin. It was contagious. Joining hands with their neighbors, the whole room turned its gaze toward the brilliant light now pulsing in the air, collectively ready to uncover what God had planned. "What do you desire to reveal to us?" Someone called out, and this time it was not just a question, but an eager prayer, laced with longing, enveloping the atmosphere. As the waves of anticipation swelled, Tom closed his eyes tightly, heart racing. His spirit urged him to dare to believe what more might the divine unearth within those 7 days, and what miracles awaited them all. Somewhere within the lit dawn of hope, a flutter stirred as if heaven was impatiently awaiting their response. Would they be ready to embrace their call? The vibrant glow enveloped them, promising to lead beyond what they could see. The question lingered, heavy with divine mystery: what miracles would emerge from this bold leap into faith? Tom's heart thundered as the energy in the room swelled, pulsating like a heartbeat of a living organism. Together, they stood on the precipice of transformation. For the first time, he felt truly alive, surrounded by those who shared this longing for a deeper connection to the divine. Claire's grip tightened slightly. "Feel the unity, Tom. It's like we're woven together by his love." Her voice resonated with a comforting authority that drew Tom closer to her steady faith. The elderly woman, still leading the chorus, reached her hands toward the heavens, her face illuminated by the light that cascaded like a waterfall around them. "Lord, we are here. We are ready." In that moment, Tom understood they weren't merely waiting for miracles to happen, they were to actively participate in them. There was a divine call for engagement, a demand that they stand in the midst of their fear and uncertainty and believe. "Every step is a step toward revelation," Claire whispered again, her eyes shimmering. "Let us not just wait, let us act. What can we share?" As if summoned by her words, an unexplainable wave washed over the crowd. It felt like an invitation wrapped in warmth. Voices rose higher, wrapping around one another, creating a symphony of connection and hope. Suddenly, a group of children near the front began to laugh and dance, breaking through the solemnity with their innocent joy. Their laughter was contagious, filling the air like bright sparks in a dark sky. "Look!" one of them shouted, pointing toward the vibrant glow. "The light is moving." Tom followed the direction of the child's gaze, and his breath caught in his throat. The light began to pulse rhythmically, morphing into shapes that defied understanding. It was as if the divine was painting with colors unseen, choreographing a dance of glory that whispered directly to the hearts gathered. "What is happening?" a woman murmured nearby, her voice tinged with awe. "It's his presence," Tom responded, feeling heat radiate outward from his core. "Can't you see? He's here among us." The air crackled with energy, and in that shared realization, faith sparked in Tom's spirit. His eyes darted among the villagers, noticing their expressions shift from tentative curiosity to wide-eyed wonder. Everyone felt it, the unexplainable joy vibrating in the atmosphere. As the man from the front raised his hands again, the rhythm of the singing harmonized with a new urgency. "Prepare yourselves. Each day will reveal a gift, a miracle we never thought possible. But it begins with your belief." Tom's stomach turned with excitement, mixed with a hint of anxiety. "What will we have to do?" he thought. Claire sensed his uncertainty once more. "Every heart shall be a vessel, Tom. It's about surrendering to what God has planned." And as she spoke those words, the light exploded into a kaleidoscope of colors that danced wildly around them. Gasping, the congregation instinctively took a step back before moving forward, drawn in by the magnetic grace. Then, as everything seemed to fade into a pulsing glow, a quiet voice pierced through the cacophony, whispering to Tom's soul. "Open your heart, dear child. What do you seek?" He felt as if the question resonated not only within him but throughout the entire room. What did they seek? Healing? Restoration? Connection? Tom's mind raced with hopes and dreams. As clarity dawned on him, clarity that only comes from deep within, he knew this moment was just the beginning. They gathered, hands clasped, breathing together as one entity, poised to express their desires. Each prayer would lift like incense, rising higher, reaching out to the heavens. The pulse of the moment was palpable. Each heartbeat synchronized with their collective faith, but now the mystery hung heavier than before. Lord, he breathed softly, more as an offering, what do you desire to reveal through us in these 7 days ahead? The light flickered around them, preparing to open the door to possibilities that were yet unimagined. What awaited them on the other side of this divine engagement? Would they be ready to embrace the challenges and blessings ahead? And even now, as they stood together in reverent silence, one truth remained unspoken yet profoundly sensed: something miraculous, something extraordinary, awaited them all. As the light pulsed rhythmically, an atmosphere of expectancy enveloped the gathering. Tom felt his heart race as he opened himself to the possibilities ahead. He was no longer the lost soul seeking answers, he was part of something profound, a connection deeper than he had ever dared to dream. The children continued to dance and twirl, their carefree laughter intertwining seamlessly with the rhythm of the adults' prayers. It painted a picture of pure, unblemished joy, a reminder of the innocence that each heart must carry. He watched them, mesmerized, as if they were the very embodiment of hope. "Look at them," Claire exclaimed, her voice brimming with excitement. "They understand the joy of being in his presence. There's no fear, only love." Tom tore his gaze from the children, his eyes shimmering with unshed tears. He wanted that simplicity. He wanted to believe with such abandon, to dance freely in the joy of the Lord. Could he find that? Gather your thoughts. A deep voice called out from the leader, breaking through the soft hum of worship. His tone was firm yet gentle, commanding the attention of everyone present. "This is a sacred time. We are preparing to receive what God wants to share." The air thickened with a sweet fragrance, like a multitude of flowers blooming all at once. Their hearts swelled as if they were part of something vast and beautiful. Tom could almost feel the presence of angels swirling around them, whispering promises of what was to come. "Lift your hearts. Share your desires." The leader encouraged, and one by one, people began to share their prayers aloud. Voices wove together like strong threads, intertwining their hopes and dreams. Tom listened intently, drowning in the collective longing for healing, renewal, and connection. Each prayer was a gift, a testament to the struggles they had faced and the faith that had sustained them. A woman spoke of her ailing father, a man prayed for restoration in his marriage, and another lifted a plea for direction amidst uncertainty. Each voice was a note in a grand symphony, a melody that resonated deep within Tom's soul. As he listened, his own desires crystallized. With a steady breath, he finally spoke. "Lord, I seek a deeper faith amidst the storms. Let your light guide me in uncertainty, and show me how I can walk boldly in your love." In that moment, something shifted. The light around them brightened, swirling in vibrant colors that seemed to respond to their confession and courage. Tom felt a warmth envelop him, urging him to lean into the divine promise that seemed to bridge gaps invisible to the eye but palpable to the heart. The elderly woman guiding them smiled knowingly. "Keep your hearts open, dear ones. Each prayer is not just an echo in the void, but a seed planted in the fertile ground of faith. Trust the process." As the group continued to lift their prayers, a sense of urgency filled the air. It was palpable, a stirring that begged them to anticipate the supernatural unfolding around them. What gifts were bound to manifest? What miracles were on the brink of expression? Suddenly, the kaleidoscope of light crystallized into a single stream, bright and beckoning. There was a magnetic pull toward the source, and every soul there felt it, like an invitation to cross the threshold of the unknown. "We are here to witness. We are on the edge of something incredible," Claire declared, her voice rising above the others. Tom could feel a flicker of excitement spin within him as doubt melted away. Maybe, just maybe, they were ready to witness the sacred unfold before their very eyes. But before they could fully comprehend what was happening, the voice that had whispered to him earlier returned, clearer this time. "Are you willing to embrace the unknown? To act in faith when the world clings to certainty?" Tom's breath caught in his chest. This was the crux of their journey, the leap into the great unknown, where faith would shatter the limits of understanding, The light pulsed even brighter, urging them onward, beckoning them into the mystery of divine revelation. What awaited them beyond the shadows of doubt? As they stood united, one thought rippled through them: this was not an ending, but merely the beginning of their miraculous days ahead. The air thickened with a sense of purpose, as if heaven itself was in attendance. Tom's heart raced with anticipation as he felt a shift in the atmosphere. The pulsating light grew more intense, glowing like the dawn, heralding a fresh start. Each heartbeat synchronized with the ethereal rhythm surrounding them, a divine metronome urging them to push forward. "Prepare yourselves, beloved," the leader's voice carried through the gathering, infused with a fervent passion. "For God is about to reveal the treasures hidden from our eyes. Hold on to hope." The murmurs of the congregation rose, a wave of faith swelling like an ocean tide. Tom could sense the energy vibrating through each participant, breathing life into their earnest prayers. It was no longer just a gathering, it was a symphony of seekers, amplifying their desires into the ether, reaching for the very heart of God. Trust in His timing," Claire whispered to Tom, her eyes bright with unwavering faith. "He is not slow in keeping His promises, but is patient with us." Tom nodded, feeling the truth of her words sink deep into his soul. As the leader continued to guide them, he closed his eyes, allowing the kaleidoscope of light to wash over him like a cleansing wave. He envisioned stones being turned into living water, fears transformed into courage, disappointments morphing into divine appointments. Every prayer spoken felt like seeds planted on fertile ground, and as he envisioned them sprouting, his spirit soared. One vocal expression caught his attention, a man with trembling hands who prayed fervently for healing. Tom opened his eyes and turned to look. In that moment, a hush fell over the gathering, and a spirit of expectancy took root. "Let us pray for him together," the leader urged, and as a chorus of voices lifted in agreement, Tom stood in solidarity. He joined the circle, hands stretching out toward the man, eyes fixed on the radiant light. "Lord, flow through us. Move in this place," they cried out in unison. A wave of warmth radiated like a blanket enveloping the room. The air crackled with reverence, and Tom could feel a tangible presence weaving through them all. Suddenly, laughter erupted from the children playing nearby. Their joy punctured the heaviness, reminding everyone that faith is not devoid of delight. It both guards and nourishes the heart. A little girl, brown curls bouncing as she danced to the rhythm of the prayers, ran to the man in need. She reached out, pressing a small flower into his palm. "Jesus loves you," she declared, her innocent confidence echoing through the hall. Tears shone in the corners of the man's eyes as he looked down at the flower, a physical symbol of hope amidst his struggle. Tom marveled at the way God worked through the innocent and the humble. It was revealing, stirring something deep within him. He realized that even the smallest act could unleash profound changes. "Let us be vessels of His light," Claire exclaimed, her voice echoing through the gathering. "We can be the miracle the world is waiting for." At that moment, the energy surveyed a new direction, pulling them closer together. Unity was not just a concept, it was a tangible force that began to swirl within them. They held up their hands as one, heartbeats syncing in a dance of faith and hope. Tom felt another voice beckon in his heart, louder than before. "Will you be the answer to someone else's prayer? Will you shine brightly in the face of uncertainty?" As an overwhelming love cascaded down upon him, a revelation ignited. He was not just an observer, he was meant to be involved. The promise that they were on the brink of something holy became an intoxicating reality within him. In that instant, the vibrant stream of light split into several smaller arcs, dancing around the room like the flames of a bonfire, igniting everyone's spirits anew. "This is but the beginning," the leader proclaimed, and a ripple of holy enthusiasm surged through the gathering. Each moment crackled with divine anticipation. What would happen next? What miracles awaited in the days to come? As Tom stood there, filled with promise and possibility, he wondered, could he step fully into his purpose? Would he embrace the call that was sweeping through the hearts of the faithful? The questions lingered, echoing softly against the walls of hope, as they prepared to embark on their miraculous days ahead. The light in the room shimmered, and a holy excitement settled like dew upon them. As Tom glanced around, he noticed expressions of awe and expectancy on every face. Each person radiated a unique light, drawing the tapestry of faith closer together. It was no longer just prayer, it was an immersion in the divine essence of God's love. The leader beckoned everyone to come closer. "This is a time of revelation and transformation," he declared, his voice steady, breaking through the air filled with unrivaled energy. "For 7 days, we will gather, and in these moments, we will seek and find. The fog will lift, and the treasures unseen will be revealed." Tom felt a shiver travel down his spine. 7 miraculous days. What would that mean? With each heartbeat, he sensed a rhythm of hope beating louder, as if the very walls of the hall echoed with the promises of God.As. Gratitude overflowed in his heart. An image formed in Tom's mind. He envisioned the people they would touch, the lives entwined with theirs during this sacred time. Each day would be a stepping stone, guiding them deeper into the mystery of faith. He focused on the man who had sought healing, reminded of how every step toward unity is a step toward divine purpose. Claire leaned in closer, her breath barely a whisper. "Tom, think of the potential of this time. What if we each find our calling? What if we become agents of healing and love?" Tom nodded, feeling the fervor in her voice wrap around him like a warm embrace. "It's astonishing, Claire. I feel it, the potential that leaps ahead, just waiting for us to unlock it." The congregation erupted with shouts of affirmation, voices rising in a reverberating crescendo of faith. "We are ready, Lord. Show us your ways." Hands lifted, reaching for the very heavens, camaraderie merging into one effort, a collective yearning born from the depths of their souls. Suddenly, a wave of clarity washed over Tom. He realized that every moment is an invitation, a spark calling them to ignite the world around them. Would he dare to step beyond his comfort zone, to engage in this ongoing miracle? With each heart that silently promised to embrace its calling, Tom felt the echoes of the past begin to fade. The doubts that had clouded his vision dissipated like mist in the morning sun. In their absence, courage ignited, urging him to be part of something much grander. The children's laughter radiated through the gathering, reminding him that pure joy often births the deepest revelations. The little girl who had offered the flower still bounced with delight, unaware of her pivotal role in nurturing faith. It struck him that sometimes, we must return to the simplicity of childlike belief to unveil God's wonders. "Let us pray," the leader suggested, focusing the attention back to the essence of their purpose. "Let us ask how we might shine his light this week." With bowed heads, the congregation settled into a reverent silence. The spirit of prayer encircled them, enveloping each heart in a blanket of warmth. Then, one by one, voices echoed sweetly, calling out their hopes and visions for the upcoming days. As Tom listened, a profound sense of peace washed over him. He could sense the divine threads weaving through their prayers, binding them closer as they wandered into this spiritual journey. Together, they were stepping into the unknown, courageously facing whatever awaited them. Could it really be true? Would they unearth miracles that could not just transform their lives, but set alight the hearts of those in their community? The leader's voice broke the cocoon of prayer. "Prepare yourselves. Expect to see the invisible and hear the unspoken in the days to come. There's a revival placed upon us, a beautiful call waiting to be answered." The anticipation hung sweetly in the air. Tom stood at the precipice of something marvelous, wondering what divine encounter awaited him around the corner. As they would soon discover, the journey was just beginning, and the real question was, would they be ready when the miraculous unfolded? As the sun set on the 7th day, the serene village of Wrenwood was bathed in a golden glow, shimmering under the canopy of a sky painted with hues of pink and orange. The old church, the sacred heart of their community, pulsed with an energy that could only be described as divine. Claire stood at the front, her heart brimming with gratitude, surrounded by a sea of familiar faces, believers transformed through love, each carrying testimonies of miracles witnessed. "Today, we celebrate." Claire's voice rang out, powerful and confident. Not just the miracles, but the shifts within us, the faith ignited, the love shared. The congregation swayed as a wave of warmth swept through them, wrapping them in a collective embrace of hope. With each tick of the clock, the miracles of the past 7 days echoed like a song in the air. Wrenwood had erupted in newfound vibrancy. Children laughed louder, sickness had fled, and even Tom, once chained by skepticism, radiated an unexplainable peace. His eyes sparkled, tears glistening as he held his daughter tightly, the little girl who had shown him the joy of believing beyond sight. A week of transformation, Claire continued, her heart soaring. A week where we dared to believe, where faith plowed through the hardest of soil. We have witnessed love come alive, healing come forth. Could we have ever imagined such grace? The crowd erupted in approving murmurs and applause, hearts resonant with a newfound strength. Yet, Claire's gaze sought out Tom, who stood close to the back. She had witnessed his journey, the crumbling walls of doubt, now replaced with a vibrant light. "I want to hear from you, Tom," she called out, uplifting his spirit as she beckoned him to step forward. The congregation hushed, anticipation vibrating through the very fabric of the air. Taking a deep breath, Tom approached, humility in his stance, yet buoyed by the love around him. Recognition swirled in the air, hearts beating as one in support of his courage. "I came to this place with a heart burdened by doubt," he began, his voice steady but laced with emotion. "But through Claire's unwavering faith and the overwhelming love in this community, I found clarity. I found Jesus in the smiles, in the healing, in every song sung. I can never go back to the way I was. I'm forever changed." A chorus of amen and applause surged through the church, echoing off the wooden beams, enveloping Tom in a sea of affirmation and unity. Then, the elderly woman from earlier, who had walked as if burdened with years, stood with renewed strength beside him. "You, dear soul, are part of our miracle too," she declared, her voice like silk, soft yet powerful. "You have shown us that even the hardest hearts can bloom anew through love." More voices chimed in, each offering their gratitude, each expressing how the journey had touched their lives. The air crackled with the electricity of divine presence, weaving through every heart, a palpable sense of purpose and community rising like incense to heaven. Claire's eyes watered with joy. This moment is sacred, and the miracles have not ended. They are but the beginning of what lies ahead for Wrenwood. Our faith can move mountains. Our hearts can heal others. As the energy swelled in the room, Claire continued, "But this is not just about us. We must take what we have experienced to the world. Let our testimonies be the seeds we plant in those who still dwell in darkness. Can we be the light for others?" "Yes!" the congregation exclaimed in unison, filled with an embrace of buoyant enthusiasm. At that moment, the church doors swung open. The vibrant man who had stepped in on the 4th day stepped forward again, beaming. "We need to share this with those outside these walls. There are people longing for hope, and we must not hold back." The crowd surged, driven by an infectious zeal. They would go forth and share their stories, spark hope, and illuminate the path for others. Claire's heart raced with excitement. "Let us gather in small groups. Let us go out into the village and invite others to witness what we have experienced." Their voices lifted in song, a joyful anthem spilling from within, harmonizing with the heartbeat of their community. The promise of the unexpected lay before them, a sacred invitation to spill love, to be vessels of light in a world filled with uncertainty. In that radiant moment, miracles unfurled not just around them, but within them. Hope was no longer a whisper, it was a roaring flame, ready to ignite the darkness. It transcended boundaries, as hands embraced and hearts intertwined. As they spilled out of the church, laughter rang in the air, a golden promise stretched before them. What awaited them in this new future was a tapestry of faith woven together, a manifestation of God's love that was not just for them, but for the world. "Today is our day to share," Claire exclaimed, bearing the joyful weight of this chosen calling, and so, with laughter spilling like sunlight into the cobblestone streets of Wrenwood, they celebrated more than just miracles. They celebrated transformation, the unyielding light of God's grace, and the promise that the divine was alive among them. The journey had only just begun. Now, dear friends, this is your moment. Subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share this precious message. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this incredible ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness these divine manifestations. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Step forward, spread the light.